Okay, good evening, everyone. I call this meeting to order on Thursday, November 17th at 7:04 p.m. Now, this roll call, member Debbie Yasek?
Yes. Here,
Okay,
present.
great. Member Eileen Leahy?
Present.
Wonderful. And myself, chairs is here, Keanu Smith Brown. I don't believe there were any comments submitted.
Do you want to mention Ashley Leonard's here and
Hey, Ashley.
city clerk with the statuses?
Evening.
Hey. We were going to ask her something?
No, usually with roll call, you'll include the other members.
Okay, wonderful.
And in the case that city clerk is not here tonight, you may want to mention
Okay,
technical
Ashley.
difficulties. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Madam City Clerk is not able to be with us at the moment, Regina Watkins Eldridge, but Ashley Leonard, our Assistant City Attorney, is also here tonight. Ashley Leonard. I don't believe there were any comments submitted, but we will move forward to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting, which was from Thursday, October 20th, 2022?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? And for all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the approval. Actually, it's discussion time. So let's go over the amended reports of the campaign farm report analysis from July 1st, 2022. Debbie, did you have, or Eileen, did you have any thoughts or updates on this?
Well, I just got them literally this afternoon around 3 o'clock. So I did an initial run through and I'll just kind of give you all the highlights and then send it out to you all with actions needed. And then maybe we could do what we did the last time and you all just split up the other two. Or split the remainders up. I'm just going to go through each one of them. I'm using the campaign report analysis that we had sent out. Friends of George Gallagher was fine. People for Keanu Smith Brown. Keanu, you did submit an explanation in regards to the cash balance that's noted. I think at this point, because there is still a discrepancy that may have actually goes back to several reports, my suggestion would be that we hold off on that and maybe just meet and just go over everything and see if we can't find that.
Okay.
But we did receive a report from your campaign. Friends of Katie
I have a
George.
question. Are we
Yeah.
talking about the 304?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the only thing. Yeah.
Okay. And it might go back a couple reports.
Right. It seemed to indicate that there may have been an error in entering a number. That's what I got out of it. And so we'll just have to go back. I mean, everything so far has been above board. It's just a question of trying to rectify the amounts. So you all, it looks like the campaign found one discrepancy, but there's still another one. So I think just maybe going back either separately and then talking or doing it together maybe can help with that. It may mean just getting some bank statements out and tracking it that way. But
Sounds like a good job for Keanu.
Yeah, no, I did do it.
Sometimes fresh eyes pick these things up. But anyway, the report was submitted. It was submitted on November 16th. Next one on the list is Friends of Katie George. There is no report submitted. Regina did tell me that Miss George has been in touch with her office and has requested the fax number to send something in. Regina said she has sent the fax number twice and one of the other clerks sent it twice, but we still haven't gotten it. Next on the agenda is.
Wait 1 second. Sorry, Eileen. So what is the, so what's the next step now? She received the letter from the law office and it's now in limbo, I guess, because she said she wanted to fax something, but we don't know what or when.
Well, I think we'll do what we've been doing and what we'll be doing with all of these candidates is just send up the analysis and just point it out again. Hopefully she has something to send us, which is why she asked for the
Back.
Right, it's
Why
a
she asked for this.
30-day time limit.
Right.
Um,
There's no, I have to double check. I don't think there's any enforcement with it. Ashley, is there a late fee on the amended? I'd have to look at it again. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you can put a late fee. I mean, I think the late fee goes with the original report until it's completed as amended, kind of thing.
There's
So like
supposed-
it wouldn't tie with the amended report per se, but until you get all the amended reports done, it sort of ties with the original report.
Right.
yeah, and I think the per code, Ashley, I think what you told us before is 250 is the max.
Yes, that is correct.
Can we
However,
add? Go ahead.
My question is, I don't think there's additional monies you can put on if an amended fee is, an amended report is late.
No, once you hit 250, it's 250.
Okay.
For any, like, because the amended report is just part essentially of the original report.
So, is Regina or the law office, who's like nudging her? Nudging Katie George,
Well, we sent her the letter
right?
and she's been in touch with the city clerk's office. So we're hoping that whatever she's asking, since she's asking for this fax, we're hoping she's going to submit something. And then when we get something, we'll review it. I think we treat her the same that we're treating at least this point is once we go through all of the amended reports, we'll report back to all of the candidates, including her. But hopefully she'll get something in. It'll be late, but
Yeah.
I mean, we can
Yeah, I
send
just
another
want
letter.
us to have some teeth. Otherwise, we don't even need to do this.
That's
Yeah.
why we have a task force coming up.
Okay.
We don't have teeth.
Okay. I like Keanu's teeth. All right, sorry. Okay,
That's
go ahead.
okay. So Friends of Scott Gibson, I'll check with Regina because there's no timestamp on his report, but I assume it came in on time. He did submit his amended Schedule 1.
Right.
We had asked about, did he want to, he indicated he was going to make this a final report, but there's no indication that he is going to or did. So that's totally up to him, but he still does have a cash balance. The next one is Monica Manthe. We did receive a report from her on November 14th, 2022. There's several errors that are mostly minor, the typical didn't strike through or initial. There's some codes that are missing. There's addresses that are missing. And on Schedule 3, there's some incorrect entries that I have to go back and look at. So, so again, we'll get back to her and just ask her to resubmit an amended report. So this is the first report we've gotten for the July. So this is her initial July report. This is not an amended report. And according to Regina, she has not paid the $250 late fee.
Yeah, because I think her treasurer felt bad about it, so he was going to pay it because he felt obligated and responsible.
Well, I mean, that's up to them as
Yeah.
far as who takes care of
Okay.
it. So we do have that. So we'll ask her to amend that. Excuse me, Friends of Fred Payon. Former Alderman Payon has not submitted a July 1st campaign report. Regina told me that she has been in communication with Randy Landis. I'm not quite sure what the problem is or what the issue is. There are emails, there have been questions in the past about where he can send his money. And I know that those emails have been, pulled up and reviewed. So I think at this point, maybe we need to send him a certified letter because we didn't do it the last time. We kind of
Right.
But under the impression, we knew that they were aware of it. We were under the impression it was going to be submitted. So
I thought it was submitted, what's this 8-5 on August 5th?
Report received late.
Report received late.
I take that back.
Yeah,
Let me look at that again. I apologize. I didn't
Right,
go
no.
through his yet.
yeah,
It's the it's the $250 late fee that hasn't been received.
okay,
I haven't looked at his, I'm sorry. He has not submitted the amended report. I'm sorry,
Right.
I'm confused.
okay,
So there's no amended report that's been. And I know that Regina's been in touch with his treasurer. So I
Okay.
apologize for the
No worries.
confusion.
Thank you.
So yeah, we don't need a certified letter for that then. The next one is Friends of Rock Taves. No amended report has been submitted. So when we send this out again, we'll tell them they need to send it. Really, the only thing on that report that needed to be done was, actually it says submit none. So
yeah, right.
yeah, so we're good on that. I'm
Okay.
sorry, we're good. The Annapolis Democratic Central Committee we asked them to submit an amended summary sheet and schedules 1 and 2. So we have not gotten a report from them. So they need to be contacted.
So his remaining funds to pay off that loan, is he doing that?
Oh, you're going back to Rock
Yeah,
Cave?
for Rock
Well, we
Cave.
haven't heard anything from him, so he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to,
Yeah.
right.
Right, exactly.
So it did the Annapolis Democratic Central Committee. They haven't submitted reports. We'll have to contact them. The Annapolis Republican Central Committee submitted amended report on November 14th. And I reviewed that. And it looks to be in compliance. Ross Arnett did not need to submit an amended report. Friends of Gavin Buckley submitted an amended report on November 9th. They corrected and put in dates for each entry. I have to, the aggregates look like they were corrected, but they sent in 2 attachments that have no headings. Now I can figure out which one are the, disbursements and which ones are the contributions, but they need to have, I can't make that decision. So I think it needs to go back to them and say, you need to resend these forms because, to clarify which ones are disbursements and which ones are receipts. So that would be, again, submit. The amended reports that they sent really weren't adequate. So they need to be sent back. Rondell Pindell Charles. I didn't get a chance, the city website was down when I went back to look at her previous reports. Her Schedule 3 that she submitted, and it was submitted on time, the amount they have at the bottom is $1,381.26, which is what's on the summary sheet. But when I add it up, it should be $1,191.26. So I wasn't able to go back and look at the original one. So it was submitted, but the total is off. So we'll have to find out from them which one to go by. Okay. Okay, to move on.
Oh yeah, Sheila Finlayson.
Okay, so Sheila. So all of the strike-throughs and initials were taken care of. The attachment for the Schedule 3 disbursements were submitted. They look fine. Numbers look fine. The past report in terms of the PAC, I was, in touch with Ashley and Regina during this. What I did for the PAC in regards to Alderwoman Finlayson and also Alderman Schandelmeyer was to go to the State Board of Elections site and look and see if those PACs were registered. So in the case of Alderman Finlayson, the PAC that she noted was certified by the state. And I was able to go into their report that they submitted to the state, and the contribution they made to Alderwoman Finlayson was noted in their report.
Good.
So my thought and my recommendation for consideration is, in the future, it would again be nice to have something more specific in our code, what is needed, but I at least felt comfortable that it's out there. It's certified by the state, and the contribution was identified and itemized on their annual report. So what do you all think about that?
Now, it's her responsibility though to include that on her?
It's not clear in our code. So she
Right.
put it on her report, and it was noted to be a political action committee.
Okay.
But when you look at the code, and feel free to jump in, Ashley, if you think, we're just not specific about whose responsibility is. Technically, I believe it's supposed to be the political action committee, but we don't have a process by which they submit a report. We say we want a report, but we don't really explain how to do that.
Well, it sounds like it matched up.
Yeah.
So legally, it's solid, right?
Yeah.
According to the reports. It's just a lot of work, for us or you, Eileen, it's just too much work
Have to
right
give
now
benefit
to
for-
verify the PAC contributions.
Well, we verified it at the state level. We just didn't verify it at the municipal level.
Yeah. So that's something, like you said, should be cleared up going forward, is if the state level is enough, or if we want to bring it to the local level, have a PAC report.
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty much what we're figuring out, if we need to require that lower level PAC report.
So what do you want to do now? Do you want to accept that?
Is she aware that has she been made aware that it's on the state website?
I don't know.
Maybe. Yes. So.
We can let her know, but it's really for our purposes. Are we willing to accept that?
I would.
I would as well. I believe so.
Okay.
It's because it's on record, so it's not as if it's hidden or
right. And we don't really have a lot of code to back us up. So the bottom line is it was documented that she received it, and it meets the state requirements. So
we're fine then.
I guess Ashley's not on with us at the moment, but when I discussed it with her,
I'm here. Sorry, the children
I'm sorry.
are a
Good.
little loud. But yes, that's what we kind of discussed and decided would be appropriate. And of course, I think it is a section of the code that probably needs to be revisited as to either we want to be more involved in monitoring it or we want to be less. Right now, the code's sort of this gray middle indecisive, like we kind of want to know about it, but not really. So.
Okay. All right. So we're good with that?
Yes.
Okay. So next one on the list is Alderman Gay. He didn't have any changes needed. Next one is Friends of Karma. That was a small mistake. It needed to be $2,878.30, not $2,478.30. And so the correction was made.
Great.
And that was submitted, and it was submitted on the 14th. The next one is Friends of Rob Savage. It was submitted on November 14th. His summary sheet, the correction was made. The aggravates that restart with the new election, it wasn't really clear if that was corrected. I'd have to look at it more closely and refer back to the previous one. But that wasn't a biggie. The Schedule 3 total was corrected. The Schedule 5, the in-kind contributions, we said names and addresses needed to be submitted, and they were, but the total's not correct. It looks like it was a monthly, fee. I'm not sure who the fee was to, something like Google, or so it was like a regular fee every month, and it looks like he skipped April because the total he gave accounted for 8 months, but he only listed 7 months. So I think we just need to ask him to look at that again. And add either correct the total and make it that it was for 7 months, or correct it and include April, but it's like a monthly charge, but April's not in there. So it was off by like $35. Okay. And the other things were okay. The next one is Brooks for Annapolis. His pages were out of order, so the whole full report was submitted on the 14th, so the pages are in order. Strike throughs and things were initialed. The summary sheet was corrected. The monies from the Friends of Katie George were moved. Schedules 1 and 3 were okay, so everything lined up. Now, I did the same thing for this campaign as I did for Alderman Finlayson. And the political action committee that he listed is not listed or certified at the state site, but it is listed at the federal level. And it turns out this PAC is a huge PAC. I mean, they make contributions all across the country, but there's no report filed. So it is a PAC, but there's no report filed. I don't know what to recommend as far as, I'm not really clear what we can recommend to Alderman Chandelmeyer as far as what he can get. What he did submit was he submitted their contact information. So we could contact, the group could be contacted, but I'm not quite sure how or what we want to ask for.
How is it not in the report if they gave the money? Don't they have to track all of that?
Well, they didn't file a report, so it's very different. The political action committee that Alderwoman Finlayson did submit an annual report to the state. I don't know what the criteria are at the federal level. I would expect that they have to do an annual report.
Yes.
But there's like a listing of practically the same thing. There must be 10 of them. So we have the specific one that made the contribution.
So I'm less comfortable with this because it's a PAC not registered in the state. So, we're a city, we're the smallest form of government, and then we've got the county and the state, and we're all kind of related. But once you get to the federal level, that's just a huge beast. And election oversight and financial, the reason we have finance committee reports is to kind of keep things in order and to be able to track and follow the money. And if we're going out of state to a federal PAC that doesn't even put in reports, I
don't know if they didn't put it in. It's not on the website.
Yeah.
It's not in their data. It's not in the federal database that I could find.
How, we can't track it then, like you were able to do with the state. So I don't know if this is something going forward that, we need to clean up with the task force, that PACs need to be registered in the state if you're going to take money at the city level, at least registered in the state.
All right, well, it's the same, I mean, it's essentially, the same thing moving forward. It's just, what do we want to do about it now? We could ask Alderman Shanelmeyer's campaign to contact them and ask them for their financial report
Yes.
that covered this period. We could try that.
Yeah, but I would say that's the best way.
The other thing I can do is I'm happy to call Jared DeMoranis at the state level and ask him what his thoughts are. He's probably familiar with this group because it looks like it's a very large group. It's the
Well, that's another option.
International Insulators group. So those are some thoughts. Do you have any thoughts, Ashley?
I like both those thoughts.
Same.
Yeah, I do too.
They're both the same. Yeah, they're both.
All right,
Yeah.
so we'll
I think you could probably do both and sort of see if either resolves the issue.
Okay, so we can ask Alderman Shanelmeyer to contact Insulators International and ask them to verify their certification at the state and or federal level and to submit an annual report or acknowledgement of his. I mean, the reason you have the campaign fund reports for these bigger groups is to track their money. So we'll ask for an annual report. I mean, it looks like the feds asked for an annual report. I don't know when it's due. So we'll ask them to do an annual report and the certification.
And it's a
then I'll give
union,
Jared-
so
well, a union is even different than this. So,
yeah, supposedly a union. So.
well, it is a union with their side political action committee. So,
Exactly.
and then I will give Jared a call
Okay.
and see if he has any ideas. Other than that, everything else looks good. Then the last one is Alderman Tierney. We told her that aggregates restart with the new election cycle, so she took them out, when she really should have just updated them. It's not a biggie. But, if someone gave her $100 last election cycle and gave her $100 this election cycle, she put in 200 as the aggregate when the aggregate should have been 100. So we can just send that it needed to be updated, not blanked out. We asked for an explanation of the Historic Annapolis membership disbursement, and she submitted that. So I think, I'm looking to see if I have it in front of me. I don't. Let me see if I can pull that up. Basically, what she submitted, I don't want to put words in her mouth. Let me see if I can find it. And these are all, part of the difficulty with getting these out was the files are so big and they were put into an odd format. So they're not, I can't download them and then send them. So it's just kind of odd that way. Let me see if I can find. Okay, I'll read you what she submitted. So Schedule 3 disbursements, Historic Annapolis membership. We requested documentation on how it relates to the campaign, submit an explanation. The candidate's response is, Historic Annapolis HA is Ward 1 strategic partner in the revitalization of the City Dock project, protecting the forces of climate change without compromising the integrity of the historic district. These issues, City Dock resiliency and protecting the historic district, are an integral part of my campaign platform. As we move forward with implementing the City Dock project, there are peripheral issues such as the threat of our historic district height ordinance in proposed future developments that I must align myself with their efforts. This membership is key in achieving all of the above and the reason I joined their association.
So what does that have to do with?
I think the question is this a campaign?
Yeah,
limit,
that's
or is it as part of,
it. It
being an
sounds.
alderwoman? So,
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That she's saying it's important to the work that she's doing as alderperson. Resiliency as an alderperson, you get to make those
right.
decisions.
So she tied it in with her campaign platform, is what she stated. It was made after she was elected, I believe.
So no, that just doesn't make sense to me. I hate to say it, but
Let me double check when it was made.
now I support it. I support, but it just doesn't.
I guess you have to think, would those donors to a campaign, would they want their money, to go to that? And if the answer is yes, then, I guess it's a choice, that the elected officials have sometimes, right?
Well, I mean, there is monies I mean, I don't know. I can't get, unfortunately, the website is down, so I can't go in and find out. Well, we know it doesn't really matter what the date is. If it was reported on the July 1, report, this was a membership that was obtained after the campaign was active.
Yeah, that's the key right there. Because I could see if she paid for it during the campaign and it still continued after the campaign, but you're paying for it after.
Right, but it's reported on this one, so my assumption is that it was made after November 3rd. Now, Ashley, I don't know what we can do in terms of backing anything up in terms of the code. We could make that, I mean, I'm not sure we have to have specific code. We could just make that a determination and say it appears to be inappropriate or not related to the campaign because it was made after the election.
And then I wonder why use the money for that membership? Was it expensive? Was it?
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't get really into that. It's just whether.
That's what I'm thinking, so.
Ashley, do you have any thoughts? Again, I'm happy to ask Jared DeMoranis. I mean, I've asked him these types of questions in the past. I know that in the past, we have had questions and usually there's only been a couple of them, not quite the same, but we've said no.
Oh. Well, I mean, there should be consistency too.
So would she just
the past.
Yeah, would she just pay it out of her pocket? Is that how it?
Well,
I mean, they get a salary because, I mean, the aldermen get a salary, right?
A little.
I think they get it. I don't know. I mean, they get a salary and I believe they may also get some additional monies for.
I think they get an expense. I think they have expense account as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she is a public servant and she wanted this job and.
Well, we can, let's just keep it. Do we want to accept it or do we want to? If we say as a group where you don't see it as a campaign contribution, then we'll need to touch base with Ashley and see if there's any code as far as how to follow up on that and then send a letter. If you'd like me to contact Jared DeMoranis to get some more information, I can. Again, he can make a recommendation, but it still comes down to us.
Right. I feel comfortable saying that we move forward with the letter and saying that it's not, it does not have to do with the campaign, just based off of what I see, based off what we've shared, based off of the past and based off of her response. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't seem that way to me.
I appreciate the response. For me,
Yeah.
big thing is the date. This was a membership that was attained after an active campaign. I mean, the campaign's still open, but it's not, we can go from there and she can certainly appeal it. What
That's
are your
fine.
thoughts, Debbie?
I see it. Would you say, Debbie, you?
Yeah, I could go either way.
Yeah, I
on
feel
this one.
like, well,
Do you want me to wait? Do you want to wait and have me contact Jared and get what he would do in the situation if it was at the state level and then bring that back to you all?
Sure. You're already reaching out to him.
yeah, you might as well throw this in
Already.
there. And it gives her, gives us
Ask him
more
if he wants to be on the task force.
Yes.
All right. I will check with I will check with him and then I'll also touch base with Ashley. I know that Ashley was going to have to leave early tonight, so I'll touch base with her and we'll look at code because I think it's one thing to say, to look at the date, but we also might need some code to back us up. So again, nobody's trying to be.
No, not at all.
But again, I think, we've said this again before that we need to have better guidelines because in the absence of guidelines also, it can be difficult for candidates to determine if something is appropriate or not. So those are all of them. So I will write these up and send these out to you. And then I guess in December, we'll look at them again and finalize everything.
Yes, we'll have a response from Jared.
Yeah.
Okay. On those two matters. I don't believe we need to make any action on that. We all reviewed it. We'll wait for the updates and then we'll send it out there.
Okay.
And so I think we're all in agreement with that. Thank you, Debbie, and Eileen especially.
Right. Thank you, Eileen.
So we have, all right, so now that we've went over the campaign fund report analysis, we're going to move forward to the updates on the application and proposed process for selecting the membership of the task force. So I did look at the task force press release, and the only edit was that there was an extra space after the period before applicants. That's the only edit that I saw was necessary.
Okay, let me write that down. I'm sorry, say that again.
It was an extra space after the period, after months and before applicants.
Okay. Okay.
Although we didn't include that they'll submit a report to us, but I take it that that's implied, so we don't even have to worry about that. I guess we're just talking about the key points.
Yeah, let me just preface. What I did was I sent Mitchell and also Ina and MIT the content that we had reviewed and agreed upon at our last meeting. So Mitchell may have changed some wording. I know the initial graph had said applicants should have election experience or.
Yes, and this says must.
And I said must. Yeah, so I asked for that change.
So we're going to put it to should instead of must?
No, it should be must. It was should.
Must.
It's a must. They must have something, so.
Something.
So I'd like to get this out. I mean, we had hoped to get this. I mean, this had all been submitted a couple of weeks ago, so it's ready to go. The press release, the graphic, the web page was up for like a couple of hours one day as Anna was working on it, and we already had somebody ask about applying for it.
Wow.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, this is pretty major deal. I would see people outside of the city even being interested in this.
So there was lots of back and forth, and one of the biggest holdups was what email address are we going to use?
That's exactly what I was about to bring up. What are we going to do?
So without getting into too much, it's going to be elections@annapolis.gov.
Yeah, I saw that on the press release. So
Yeah.
elections@annapolis.gov.
Right.
Okay.
So
That's
I
our
met with Hillary and Regina today to work it out. Some of the challenge that has happened is when Alderman Savage placed the amendment on it, it changed it and it wasn't a clean change. So it says the mayor makes the recommendations, but yet we do it. So it's kind of a question of
if we should have
it overlaps. Is this under boards and commissions, or is this under elections, or so whatever. So we met today and kind of went through it. So there's no Google Drive. There's no drive to be had. So the process right now is going to be that, let me go for my notes from today's meeting as opposed to the update. So the proposal is there'll be a separate web page that's part of the Board of Supervisors of Elections webpage. So you can go to Boards of Elections and click on that, and it will go to this task force, membership webpage, and that will have the link to the application. Okay, the application has been updated to include the changes that we put forth. There will also, the request will be made to put a link on the city website itself. The idea of trying to make it as easy as possible to find it. So once those are done, then people can go ahead and fill in the application and send that in. Regina will be monitoring and getting the emails from elections.gov. She has the verbiage from Hillary so that will automatically be sent. Your application has been received.
Right.
Right. So all of that. So, and then what Regina will do is she will forward the applications to us. Now, my question had been, what about questions? What about somebody saying, when's the deadline? Or what do you mean by election? So it appears at this juncture, Regina will answer those questions. If she has to get the answer from one of us, she can get the answer from one of us, but I made it really clear that I was uncomfortable that things were coming from our personal email. But we can access elections at elections@annapolis.gov. So everything's going to have to go through Regina. And I think it should be fine. We're hoping there's not a lot of questions.
As long as she's not doesn't have too much on her plate, and she's able to, because that's
She
what
says well, it's a good thing she's not here.
I hope
So it's on her plate at this point.
to do that. Yeah.
There was talk about, then I said, well, we can't have them put it on a web content and save it for the next meeting. I mean, that's not helpful to the person asking the question.
No.
So we'll see how it works. Hopefully it's going to work that way. So then
will she be BCCing or CCing us on everything too? Or
BCCs are never a good idea for transparency.
no, of course, but I don't, whatever.
She'll be forwarding it to, she'll just be forwarding them to us.
Okay, so responses will always just be.
We shouldn't be responding. We're just getting this for information only.
Right. But when she responds, she could put us as copied.
Oh, I see.
That's
The question. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So someone asks a question, then okay, these are the board, these are the people that will.
And I thought Regina is, so who's taking minutes tonight?
She's going to review the tape.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a good question. So how will we know what the end of the questions are? All right. So I'll verify that with her, but that would work.
And I mean, she could show that she's, the recipient can see that we're getting copied.
And we won't say, we don't have to say anything. Yeah, we can just let her respond. But we'll
when they we won't though answer them. Only Regina will answer them.
Only Regina will answer.
Yes.
Our emails should not be on there.
Right.
So I will clarify that with her. Depending on the question, it may be that Hillary has to answer it. So Hillary is going to be kind of on the periphery. So if it's a question that she needs to answer in her capacity for, working with the boards and commissions, she'll do that.
Okay.
I'll send you out these notes from the minutes from the meeting we had today. And then, so I was concerned about the timeline. They assured me it would be okay, and it's a little bit altered, which I reflected in the updated timeline. But in our meeting, we need to move the deadline back. So if we get this going on Monday, and especially with the holiday week, December 12th, I don't think is enough time. Because I haven't been able to send out emails to people whose names we have, again, because of the email situation. So
is she gonna do that then? If we want to
she's
send
gonna
it out,
have to do, yeah, she's
we're
gonna
gonna have to
need,
give her a list of persons that we can reach out to.
right, so that needs to get out next week also. So it's all ready to go, it's just who's doing it on what email. So that will go out next week, but it's a holiday week, so the thought was to move the deadline back to, it could be December 28th, which gets us past Christmas, and it's a little over 5 weeks. Or, another time earlier if you want. I don't think we can go later than the 28th. And Regina said she will be in the office that week.
But we can start telling people, we're supposed to start grassroots. I haven't really, I let the Republican Central Committee know, that this is in works, but I haven't done any, any push yet, but
Okay.
we can spread the word. Regina doesn't have to necessarily be the only one who tells people how to apply. We can tell people how to apply too.
We'll be all
Right.
supporting each other, yeah.
All right, well, Regina just texted me to let you know she's watching, so she is taking,
Okay.
she just
Okay.
can't be in there.
Yeah.
Again, I think keeping things as simple as possible. We will get applications. We shouldn't be discussing the applications until we meet. So the question on the table right now is, what do you want to make the deadline?
Yeah,
so we're talking about next week having it go out, having it get posted, right? So it'll get posted on Monday, November 21st.
That's when Mitchell can send things out, but there's still letters, emails, and things like that that need to go out next week.
Yeah.
So
then we'll have it out for a month. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we could either choose the 19th or the I just wonder if we want to get them before the holidays or after, or in between. We could make the deadline the 19th. That gives people a month.
Well, it gives people possibly less than a month. We're assuming we get these out by Wednesday.
True.
And then there's a holiday. I don't think giving a little extra, we're not going to be able to meet to discuss these until January anyway.
So we could go into that first Monday of January.
Well, that's a holiday. Well, we can do the 28th. I think get it in by the end of the year.
All right.
So 28th would be the
28th. Okay. Wednesday the 28th.
That's the option.
Wednesday the 28th is 4 weeks from this. Or is it 5 weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 weeks from this Wednesday.
Okay.
Well, if that's it seems to be that's the only, the lengthiest yet closest option to give them people 5 weeks. Because if we can't do it, if we want to do it before the new year, then that would be the only. It's either that Wednesday or that Friday, because the next week is January 2nd, that Monday.
Right. When we initially started talking about this, we were talking about 4 weeks.
Right.
We're looking at 5 weeks to give ourselves a little extra time.
Yes. Well, I would go with, if we're gonna choose a date, let's just go with that Wednesday the 28th, if that's what's the option we're reviewing.
I mean, if we're the ones that are going to review them, you know, we can give people up until the time we're going to review them.
Well, we're going to be reviewing them in a meeting in January. I'm probably going to review them as I get them. I mean,
Same.
I'm not sure there's an advantage to making it longer. We said in the beginning, we were looking at a month. I'm not sure giving 6 months.
I mean, if we're not going to review them till late January.
My point is, we as individual, I mean, I personally speaking, will be reviewing them beforehand. We're meeting on the, so when we talk about reviewing them, we need to have reviewed them and kind of be ready, because we have one meeting to look at all of them. So
Sure.
I would
we'll
prefer
be
to get
ready.
them before the
Okay.
beginning of the year.
Yeah, to be prepared for when we meet in January. Okay, yeah.
Well, keep in mind, we have a potential for an election next year. So
Exactly. Yeah.
let's just get this going. And, you know, if we can always, if we feel prepared, we can always talk about having a special meeting sooner, but it's not going to change anything in the long run. If we do it on December 8th and we meet on the 19th of January to review everything and pick our 5 nominations, they then go to the mayor. And then if the mayor agrees with those nominations, it goes to the rules committee. So that would be February 3rd. And then hopefully we can get it on the city council agenda for the 13th.
Okay, so let's move with the 28th of December. That's my selection. If we want to choose a selection.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm fine with the 28th.
Okay.
As long as you're okay with that, Debbie.
Yeah. So then the 6-month period would be March, April, May, June, July, August.
Right, it doesn't change it in the long run. Okay, so again, it's really just pushing this back. And instead of maybe having 2 meetings to discuss it, we have 1 meeting. But it doesn't change the end result at this point.
Yeah, we just wanted it done by the fall, right? We wanted the recommendations by the fall.
Correct.
So
The
September, October.
key is going to be make sure that the rules committee takes it on in February.
Yeah, prepared by then.
Because it has to go to that. So I'll send you the notes I had between Hillary and Regina. Now, Regina sent me a note that I forgot, I made an error. Hillary is actually going to be following up on the applications because that's part of boards and commissions. So,
okay, so it'll be her.
So they have it all worked out, how it's coming in and going out. And we're just going to have to probably test the process at this point. Hold on a sec. Yes. Right. Okay. Okay. Anything else on that?
No, thank you, Eileen.
I think we're just going to move for, the 28th.
Yeah,
is
I mean,
fine.
I'm glad we were able to meet today and get it.
It's been a puzzle, I know. Especially when, we're not in complete control.
Right.
Yeah, well, thank God for you.
Pluses and minuses of being a volunteer.
Right.
Okay, so I don't think I have anything more to report on that end. I think if we could, I'd like to make a motion that we approve that the webpage go live next week. That Mitchell Stevenson puts forth a press release and begins social media postings. And our deadline will be December 28th.
That's including the edits that we've.
She's going to tell me I need to separate it.
Yeah, that's including.
Do I have to motion separate? I keep dropping it. She's having technical difficulties. Let me ask her if she wants separate motions.
Yeah, maybe we can do the motion to approve of this timeline, a motion to get
All right,
those.
well, let's just separate the motion. So I make a motion to have the webpage go live next week with the content that we've provided.
The edited one.
Right.
With the edited one. Okay, is there a second for that motion?
I second.
Okay, all in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
And then, so we're also going to give the go-ahead for Mitchell Stevenson to release press releases and send out social media posts.
Is there a motion for that?
Yeah, that's a motion. I
Okay, is
move.
there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. And then the
Aye.
last is, I move that we make our deadline for this process, that applications need to be submitted by close of business, December 28th, with close of business being 4:30 PM, and that will be stated on the application.
All right, is there a second for that motion?
I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I think that's enough.
We need to move. Do we need to move that rules committee takes it up at their
No, well,
February meeting?
hopefully we'll, I think the recommend,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, Regina will take care of us. She'll take care of that.
Always that she will make sure.
So I will send you a couple of things that I'll send you those notes. I think I sent you everything else. I'll send you the notes. And if I get anything else in, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Yes, as soon as, if you can let us know when she updates, I'm sure you'll send her the updates and anything else that needs to be.
Yeah, I'll send her what you noted. And, and I also said, things can be fluid, so we can also
Update it later.
also change things. So.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. Well, moving forward on the agenda here, we have the update to the referral form, our ECA 222, from the Board of Supervisors elections to the City Council Rules and City Government Committee. This was, I take it, the response after the meeting that you had attended on our behalf, Eileen. And I do recall from the meeting, they did not withdraw, but they did postpone
Right.
the legislation request. And so Ross Arnett, Alderman Arnett, he did postpone that. And so at this point, there's not really much that we do except for prepare for our task force to take hold.
Right. Yeah, that's it. They just, and that's what we asked for. We asked for a postponement.
Right. And and I listened to it too, but it's just postponed indefinitely, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is no final date that it has to be acted on. Okay.
At any time.
Regina would have to have that answer if after a certain, I don't believe if the city has an automatic dead date like the county does. If it's not acted on in like 90 days, it dies. So nope, that should be it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that's everything on our agenda. And I know there isn't room necessarily for any other comments unless someone wanted to quickly make mention of anything, but this seems to be right where we need it to be. We have the timeline set. We have the press release set. Everything's going to be updated. We have the graphic set. We'll be able to share that. We'll direct everyone to that email. Whenever we email to people or message people, go straight to that email, and it's on the graphic. It's not on the graphic, but I take it it'll be in the wording for the graphic, or maybe we can make it.
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Oh, it's not on the email. Is not on the graphic. So I take it we will just have to let people know to eat. Yeah, maybe we want to.
It's in the press release.
Yeah, it's in the press release.
But yeah, the graphic didn't have everything that the press release had.
Right. All right,
So
I'll ask you about that.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure about if that was on purpose or not. Yeah.
Right. If we send it separately, for example, we just can send that graphic to people, and then it can include all the information like the email or what have you.
All right, I'll ask her, and then we'll get it.
The email is only to return your application
or ask.
or to ask a question, because the application is on the website.
Right, it's a fillable PDF.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
That's a
So what's
email it.
important is for people to know the website link is more important than the email at this point.
right, we'll just send them to the webpage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
So one quick update, Regina just mentioned, to answer your question, Debbie, it does, if it's not active within 90 days, it will die. So,
Okay.
and so clearly that means that it'll be that.
And it was
I don't-
done in October. October was their meeting, so November, December, January.
That's what I'm saying at the time.
So it's gonna die in January.
again, I think this is a question for Regina when she's available, and this is
Okay.
Alderman Arnett's, it's his bailiwick, it's his.
Yeah,
it's
we're
his
fine
home.
if it dies. I don't care, I don't care if it dies.
It's his. So, I mean, there's procedure, so
They can
it's
take
not
it up.
something we have to worry about.
Yeah,
Okay.
in February,
Okay.
we won't have to worry about it.
So,
Nope.
all right.
So is
well,
there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn at
Okay.
8:05.
8:05 German. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Okay, thanks, everybody.